My father left me when I was a child and tried to come back when I was rich and successful. I was only 6 years old when my father walked out of our lives. No warnings, no explanations. Just a slammed door, a weeping mother, and a lifetime of unanswered questions. He left behind bills, broken promises, and a shattered version of the word family. I remember clutching my toy dinosaur at the window, watching his figure grow smaller until it disappeared around the corner. I waited for days, weeks, thought maybe he was just angry and needed time. He never came back. Mom did everything she could. Worked 2 jobs, slept on the couch so I could have the bed, skipped meals just to make sure I had enough. She never spoke badly about him, never poisoned me with hate. But the truth was obvious. He had abandoned us, abandoned me. That pain turned into a fire, one that never went out. It burned every time I saw another child playing catch with their dad. Every time I asked why my birthday card only had mom's name. Every time I had to lie in school about how my dad was just working late. But I made a promise to myself. One day, I'll be someone. And if he ever tries to come back, he'll regret ever leaving. I didn't become successful overnight. It took years of hustling, scholarships, part-time jobs, nights spent studying while others partied. I learned early that the world doesn't hand things to kids like me. You take them. I started a small tech startup when I was 23, sold it 2 years later for my first million. Took that money and invested in a chain of fitness tech equipment, custom designed wearable trackers that connected with AI. The business boomed. Within 5 years, I owned multiple companies, each worth millions. By the time I was 31, my name was printed in Forbes Asia's 30 Under 30. My face was on TV. My social media had millions of followers. They called me the tech titan from nothing. But despite the applause and cameras, I never forgot the boy with the dinosaur at the window, the one who waited, who was left. Mom had a penthouse now, a full-time maid. Her dream vacation to Greece? Done. Her medical bills? Handled before she even saw them. I owed her everything, every breath of success. She smiled more these days, though I sometimes caught a glimmer of pain in her eyes when a father was mentioned. I still hadn't heard a word from him, until he showed up. It started with a letter, a crumpled, handwritten one, mailed to my corporate office. My assistant thought it was from a desperate fan. But when I opened it and saw the name scribbled at the bottom, my entire body froze. From your father, Daniel Hayes. I didn't reply. A week later, he appeared at a charity gala I was attending, dressed in cheap clothes, hair graying, a nervous smile plastered across his weathered face. He approached me like we were long-lost friends. "Son," he said, eyes glassy. "It's really you." I stared at him for a long moment. Part of me wanted to scream. Part of me wanted to laugh. But I did neither. I extended a hand, expression unreadable. "Good to meet you. But I'm afraid you're mistaken. I don't have a father." His face fell. "I know I messed up, but—" I walked away before he finished. I thought that would be the end of it. But he was persistent. Emails, calls, even messages to my board members and friends. He told everyone who would listen that I was his miracle son, that he'd been searching for years, and that he just wanted a second chance. I almost let security file a restraining order. But then an idea hit me. Why waste the perfect opportunity for revenge? So I called him, told him I wanted to talk, said maybe, just maybe, I was willing to forgive him. He cried on the phone, apologized over and over. I could almost hear him imagining the luxury cars and Rolexes he was about to inherit. I set the trap. I invited him to dinner, a private restaurant I owned, lavishly decorated, known for its exclusivity. He showed up in a cheap suit, fidgeting with his hands, trying to look composed. I could see the hunger in his eyes, the hunger for wealth, for status, for mine. I played the part perfectly, told him I'd thought about him, that maybe we could start again. I watched his face light up like a man winning the lottery. Over the next few weeks, I slowly pulled him into my world, introduced him to luxury, flew him first class to Dubai under the pretense of getting to know him again, bought him designer clothes, gave him access to my penthouse, but only the guest wing, let him taste everything he had once thrown away. He bragged to everyone he met, told the press he was the reason I became who I was, even had the gall to appear on a podcast saying, "I raised my son to be a man." Mom stayed silent, but I saw her pain. And that's when I knew it was time. I threw a grand gala, the Legacy Awards. It was to celebrate a fake initiative I made up called Fathers of the Future, a night to honor fatherhood and family. He was the guest of honor. He arrived wearing a custom tuxedo I bought for him. He walked the red carpet, smiling like royalty, shaking hands, laughing for cameras. During the event, I gave a heartfelt speech. I want to thank someone very special, I said into the mic. A man who recently came back into my life. A man who claims to be my father. Applause. He stood, waving, pride swelling. I continued. But before we all celebrate him, I think it's only fair that we hear the full story. So I prepared something. The lights dimmed. A massive screen came on, and I showed the world the truth. Photos of the eviction notices from when he left. A copy of the child support order he ignored. A recording of my mother explaining how he vanished without a word. A timeline of the years I spent growing up without him, while he remarried and raised someone else's children in another town. I even played the recent podcast where he lied next to my kindergarten report card signed only by my mom. Gasps filled the room. He sat frozen, pale, sweating. I ended with a photo of me and my mom, years ago, in a tiny apartment eating instant noodles on the floor. The caption read, "This woman is my only parent, always has been." Silence. Then thunderous applause. He tried to stand, tried to speak. Security escorted him out. The story went viral. Media ran with headlines like, "Tech billionaire exposes deadbeat dad in savage gala speech." Father of the year? More like fraud of the decade. Son's savage revenge goes viral. I don't have a father. He disappeared, quietly. His other family? Embarrassed. His wife left him. His kids didn't answer his calls. No one wanted to be associated with him anymore. He tried to sue me for emotional distress. My lawyers buried him in paperwork until he dropped it. He sent one last letter, this time not asking for forgiveness, just begging for help. I sent back a check. $673, the same amount Mom had in her bank account the day he left. I took Mom to the house I just bought in Tuscany. She sipped wine under olive trees while I worked on my next project. She looked over at me one evening and said, "You didn't have to do all that." "I know," I replied, "but I wanted to, for that little boy who waited at the window." She smiled softly. "He'd be proud of the man you became." I don't think about him anymore. He's just a shadow now. A forgotten mistake. I have a life, a legacy, a mother who never gave up on me. And I kept my promise. He came back thinking I was the same helpless kid. But he forgot one thing. I built myself from the ground up. And when a man builds his own kingdom, he never lets the traitor back through the gates. Like and subscribe. Share if this happened to you or someone close to you.